We knew it was coming. Jack Smith officially drops the case against Donald Trump. Let's put it up full mass. I will give you the insight and his why, which, by the way, I completely disagree with statutorily and constitutionally, and I will explain. Following Jack Smith's request, Trump's 2020 election interference case has now been dismissed. This includes the charges that President-elect Trump faced over his handling of classified documents and his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. I want you to keep that picture up. Understand, this was the request of the prosecutor. The prosecutor could have not requested this and waited for the request of the defense attorney. But the defense attorney, or Trump's attorney, did not make this motion happen. It was, in fact, the prosecutor. Now he does have a why, okay? Special counsel Jack Smith won approval from a judge to drop the case, defending its merits in his motion to dismiss, but citing Justice Department policy that prohibits prosecuting a sitting president. Smith separately posed the question and requested the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th District remove Trump as a co-defendant from the special counsel's appeal of a ruling in a different case that involved Trump's alleged mishandling of classified documents. Together, the two motions essentially mark the end of the Justice Department's first federal prosecutions of a former president and the triumph of a remarkable strategy by Trump's lawyers. Smith first asked U.S. District Judge Tanya S. Chutkin on Monday to dismiss the charges against Trump for allegedly trying to block Joe Biden's 2020 victory, saying that he stands fully behind the allegations, but that the Justice Department guidelines made clear the case could not go forward. The judge quickly agreed to dismiss the case without prejudice. That leaves open the possibility that prosecutors could bring the charges again once Trump leaves office. Those steep hurdles will remain. Now let's go back to the original citation. The original citation from the prosecutor is that there's a Department of Justice guide that says we cannot prosecute a current president of the United States. Okay, fine, wait until he becomes president. Wait until he's sworn in. But let's talk about the constitutionality of that particular guideline. Number one, it's not constitutional. Mueller used it also. It is a memo, and that memo was really to protect Nixon, how it was written. But that memo has absolutely no connection to the Constitution of the United States. Find it, cite it. Where is it at? Doesn't exist. It doesn't have a connection to anything statutorily. Find the federal law that says you can't do this. It's simply a damn memo. And if it's only a memo, if it's only a guideline, who's in charge of the Department of Justice now? Oh, the Biden administration, Biden's appointee, which means that if it's only a guideline, easily the current Department of Justice can rescind their office policy. Why did they choose not to? That's the question. That's the question. There's more. Trump's defense team repeatedly tried to frame the cases against him as politically motivated, saying that these attempts were to sink his election chances. Despite no evidence that Biden was involved in the investigation at all. Since being elected, Trump has chosen several of his personal criminal defense lawyers in the case to serve in top Justice Department positions in his administration. The Washington Post reported Friday that Trump plans to fire the entire team that works with Smith, including career attorneys typically protected from political retribution, according to two individuals close to Trump's transition. Now, put it up. Trump's team issued a statement. Quote, the American people re-elected President Trump with an overwhelming mandate to make America great again. Today's decision by the DOJ ends the unconstitutional federal cases against President Trump and is a major victory for the rule of law. The American people and President Trump want an immediate end to the political weaponization of our justice system, and we look forward to uniting our country. All right, that's what the communication director said. Conservatives are responding to the news, obviously. Quote, if Donald Trump had lost an election, he may very well have spent the rest of his life in prison, Vance wrote on X. He repeated Trump's frequent complaint that he had been unfairly targeted. Quote, these prosecutions were always political. Now it's time to ensure what happened to President Trump never happens again in the country. Steve Bannon says the long arm of the law is going to track you down, Jack Smith. Wait. Before we go to Bannon, the incoming administration said no more political retribution. Now, obviously, they're not arguing the validity of the charges or the responsibility of Trump as relates to the criminal accusation. They're just saying that the process was not courteous to a former president of the United States. They're not talking about his innocence, okay? So then here comes Bannon, who totally unravels the proclamations made by both Vance and the Trump campaign. Here it is.
You guys are going to be investigated and you're going to be crushed because you're a bunch of criminals and you use state power to try to destroy the populist movement, and you failed. You didn't destroy Trump, and you certainly didn't destroy us. You gave us your best shot. You know what? It wasn't good enough, and now we're coming for you. Today, look at them scramble. Look at these rats leaving the ship. Run everywhere you want. You better be damn sure the United States does not have an extradition treaty, because we're going to extradite you guys back here to stand trial and then go to prison. And I can tell you, coming out of Danbury, prison's not going to be that good for you guys. Nope. Not going to be good for you, Jack Smith. Not going to be good for you, Damian Williams.
I'm not running, Bannon. My heart don't pump no Kool-Aid. Matt Gaetz told the truth. The truth is, it was either prison or victory. Trump ran for re-election in order to control the parameters of the justice system. Here it is.
Congrats to President Trump for being 100% not guilty, but I want all Americans to remember this. If we had somehow not prevailed in this election, Jack Smith would not be dismissing these charges. He would be proceeding to trial. And though this monumental victory was won for all Americans led by President Trump, we have to remember, just like we came within fractions of fractions from civil war, when President Trump survived an assassination attempt, we also were just fractions away from these people trying to throw Donald Trump in prison. So while all of us are grateful for this victory, for Trump, it was victory or prison, because he wasn't going to get a fair trial.
Stated by Matt Gaetz, who looked fresh off of a cocaine binge. Now, here's the reality. Trump knew that what he did was not really defendable, all right? He couldn't be defended on this stuff. Don't forget that multiple juries, including grand juries, normative juries, they all said, yeah, this guy's guilty. He's guilty of a lot of different things. Let us not forget that those jury members are in fact American citizens. Those jury members are in fact American citizens. They would prefer you to forget that point. And once again, I go back to the original citation of the special counsel, Jack Smith, claiming that due to Department of Justice guidelines, he's unable to prosecute a sitting president. Why is that guideline still present when the Department of Justice wrote that guideline in protection of one individual decades ago, and guidelines have been rescinded routinely through administrative policy? That's the question I have. Sharon, thoughts here.
You know, what you related was difficult to hear, but at the same time, oddly comforting to me because it means that America has not disappointed me. She is who I thought she was growing up and as a woman before you today. We have what is called a modern monarchy. It is disguised as a republic, but it's a monarchy. We fled a king, and Americans for centuries have believed that we are free and independent and no one's above the rule of law. We're living in a modern monarch. The only thing I would add is you let Barack try it, and then you might have something else on your hands.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking, but also it's a realization of where we are, which means that we have more work to do. All right. And I want people to know this is not to make you feel defeated. This is to empower you to do more. As I said, the day after the election, I must do more. I have to do more. If for nobody else but my daughter, I have to do more in this country.